Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 13, Episode 19, The Reunion Part 1. Okay, before I begin, let me just say how I realized after the fact that I was warning you that the show was on Sunday instead of Monday, but I wasn't warning you until Monday. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was kind of a big fail on my part. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you right off the bat that the reunion part 2 is also going to be on Sunday again. So I am changing my airtime for this video to also be Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time so that it will air the afternoon before part 2. And then hopefully that will help remind some of you guys to tune in to Bravo that night. All right, for those of you who watched Reunion Part 1, you know that nothing much happened other than the big cocaine accusation. But I am still gonna go through this. I don't know if I ever told you guys this before, but I have a little self-diagnosed OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So I have to do certain things in order. I have to do things logically. I can't skip over stuff. Again, it's self-diagnosed. However, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yeah, given OCD is a spectrum disorder, I can tell you with reasonable certainty that I am on that spectrum. So I am just going to go through the episode, but I'll go through it quicker than normal because there wasn't a lot that happened, and then we will dissect the cocaine segment, okay? As usual, we open with just the pleasantries, Andy greeting everybody. He says, "Hi, Vickie, I'm eyeballing your new face." And she said, "Thank you." And Andy goes, "Well, I didn't compliment you yet." Then he welcomes Emily to her first reunion and he said, "Did Shane give you any advice?" And she said, "Oh yeah, he's been blowing up my phone all morning." She goes, "Yeah, like, okay, they're probably gonna ask you this, or you're gonna have to say this." And oh boy. Sorry, Shane, but it's a little late to be trying to control the narrative. I mean, are you expecting your wife to explain your behavior for an entire season? Because I doubt that's going to happen. Okay, so with Vickie, we get the little montage of Vickie and Steve. The conversation turns to her having a life insurance policy on Don still. And she said, "Oh yeah, I took that out on him when he was 42. And I just kept it." And Andy's like, "You keep paying the premiums every year?" Yeah, "oh yes, it's a great investment." And then she said, "You know, Vickie's not a fool. That when he dies, she'll recoup some of the alimony that she had to pay him." So as Vickie is answering questions, we get a lot of cuts over to Kelly's face, and Kelly clearly has an agenda coming into this reunion. Maybe Kelly and Gina. They are both coming after Vickie hard. I mean, they are coming in hot out the gate. Vickie even said, like, "Calm down. You're being so aggressive." And Kelly's like, "Don't tell me how to act." But it's true. I mean, nothing has even been said yet, and Kelly's already like on high alert. You could just feel it coming off of her. Gina is kind of calling Vickie out on her hypocrisy. She took exception to the fact that Vickie made a comment at the old lady party that she said, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore. I never want to go back there again," referring to the others who went to Gina's birthday party. And, you know, rightly so, Gina took offense at that. She said, "What are you saying? What do you mean I never want to be like that again?" And she goes, "I just meant, you know, like going out to bars." And Gina said, "Well, we were at a restaurant celebrating my birthday, so I don't think there was anything wrong with that." Anyway, Vickie does apologize to Gina, but like I said, I feel like Gina and Kelly are just itching for a fight. Oddly enough, Emily appears to be defending Vickie. I don't know why exactly. She is sitting next to her on the couch. I should have also mentioned, for those of you that didn't watch, The couch on one side is Tamra, Kelly, and Gina, and then the other couch is Shannon, Vickie, and Emily. Usually that is like who's battling, who's on sides. But this year, I mean, knowing that the Tres Amigas are together, it does seem a little weird that those three aren't on a couch together. I don't know. Anyway, Andy asks Vickie if she and Steve have yet gone to premarital counseling, and she said, no, not yet, but I do want to do that. Steve has been married 3 times. That I did not know. Andy asks everybody if they think that Vickie and Steve are going to end up getting married. And it really feels like there was a long hesitation. But Shannon's the first one to raise her hand, and then it almost seems reluctantly that Tamra raises her hand, and then Tamra's like, yeah, season 14? Then Andy said, Kelly, do you think that? And Kelly's like, no. No. And he asks her why, and she said, because I think he thinks marriage is about having kids, and since that's off the table, he's happy. He's happy with her, and I don't think he sees any reason to change the situation they currently have. Then Emily said, I admire their relationship. And Andy said, why is that? And she said, I think they respect each other, and I feel like they're committed to one another. I'm not exactly sure what this loyalty to Vickie is that Emily is exhibiting, but I'm finding it kind of strange. Then Andy asks Vickie a question that he has recycled from the reunion with Tinsley. I just have to ask, do you want to marry Steve, or do you just want to get married? Of course she says she wants to marry Steve. What idiot would say, I really just want to get married? Anybody'll do. I mean, it's such a stupid question. Then Andy reads a question from a viewer. I just saw the trailer for Dirty John, and it reminds me very much of Vickie and Brooks. Do you see the similarities? And Vickie said 100%. And Andy goes, do you really? Because when I listened to the podcast, I was thinking the same thing. This sounds a lot like Vickie and Brooks. And she goes, oh yeah, 100%. Her daughter saw what was going on, but she was like, I mean, he wants to make love to me 4 times a day. And I mean, he was just really filling my love tank. And stop. I do not believe the 4 times a day. Sorry, maybe that says more about me. I don't know. But that seems insane. I don't even understand the logistics of finding the time to have sex 4 times a day. Regardless of whether it's true or not, I don't want to think about Vickie Gunvalson's sex life anymore. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want any image in my head of it. I'm out. Let's move on. Then Andy, I guess maybe to clarify, he goes, for the record, Brooks is not a murderer. And Vickie said, he murdered my self-esteem and he murdered my pocketbook and I'm going after him. And everyone's like, you are? What? And Emily goes, for fraud? For misrepresentation? Andy's like, legally you're going after him? And she goes, mm-hmm. For money he owes me. And Andy said, how much does he owe you? And she goes, a lot. Kelly said, does he even have any money to go after? And Vickie's reply was, I have a spreadsheet on him. I mean, she might. I'm sorry, Vickie. You also had a binder on his cancer treatment. So I'm not sure the spreadsheet's going to be something that holds up in court. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he owes her for. Others are trying to tell her to just let it go. Shannon said, no, you don't want to dredge up all those emotions again and everything. And she goes, I'm not going to get emotional again. I want my money back. Even Tamra was like, maybe close that door. You're going to just spend so much money trying to get your money back. And Vickie was just stoic. She is not listening to anybody. She just said, I know what I'm doing. The man lied to me and he's not going to get away with it. Okay. Then Andy Cohen asks Tamra, I think, do you think that Brooks studied the show to get to Vickie in the first place? And she's like, And even Vickie said, oh yeah. She said she met him season 1 at some sort of a like insurance convention or something. She thinks that he just tried to get his way in to her life and into the show. So he was like just telling her things she wanted to hear, and he, tried to get her away from Don. Next, we delve into Gina's backstory. There's a viewer question asking her, did you know you were getting a divorce when you started the show? And Gina said, 100% honest, I knew our marriage was on a down, but I didn't know that down would push me to pull the trigger on getting a divorce. Shannon and Gina are actually simpatico on this, because Shannon said the same thing. I think Andy asked her, did you know you were getting a divorce when you started the show? And she said, no, I just thought that if David saw how mean he was to me on the show, that it would make him go, oh, I need to spend more time with my wife. Oh, God. And Gina's like, yeah, I thought the show would be good for us too. Why? That's so funny to me. That goes against what my brain would tell me. If my marriage is in trouble, well, let's air it to the whole world. That does not seem like the next logical step to me. Come on, ladies. You have to know that's not going to work. When has that ever worked? Anyway, Gina also said that Matt could not film because of his job. They told him absolutely no way. He was going to film, I guess. And when he disclosed that to the company he works for, they said, nope, absolutely not. And then she also revealed that they still have not told the kids that they're getting a divorce. And she explains her little casita to them in the same way that Daddy goes away to work and he has his own little house. When Mommy's working, Mommy has to stay in her little house. They joked about how when Nicholas gets older, he's gonna think that like a separate house comes with a job. Okay, next we get into Vickie and Kelly's friendship. And Andy asks where it is now, and Kelly's like, we don't talk. And Vickie agreed, they do not talk. We see the montage of stuff going on between them. We get back to Eddie's birthday party. I will kill you. Oh, God. For that reason alone, that one single line, that's why Emily should come back next season. I will campaign for her to come back next season. That was totally worth it. Anyway, we see again the scene where Kelly approaches the table that Steve and Shane were at and tells him that she was hurt by what he put in page 6. Now, if you look at the comment he made to page 6, there's nothing really wrong with what he said. There really isn't. It wasn't so damning. He basically said, everybody needs to just move on. And Michael wasn't the one who wanted the divorce in the first place, so why does she even care? But it wasn't what he said so much as the fact that he said anything at all. I think that's what Kelly was objecting to. Like, what are you talking to the press for? You're not even a housewife. You're not even a public figure. So why are you talking to page 6 about my life, my divorce with my ex-husband? You certainly shouldn't be speaking about it in public because it doesn't concern you. So in that regard, I get it. And I will say that after seeing it again, my opinion hasn't changed. I'm still on Kelly's side with this because she approached him in a calm manner. She said, I didn't like what you said. That hurt my feelings. And he wanted to deny it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't follow social media. I don't know what you mean, which made her say, you don't know what you said? And then he leaves. So at that point, my feeling was still, I don't think Steve should have left. I know a lot of people think he took the high road by walking away, but she was not being volatile. And I think she deserved to have him stay and hear her out. He possibly could have explained himself then. I think it was the fact that he just dismissed her that escalated her frustration. Her reply on Twitter, by the way, was ridiculous and immature, incredibly immature. That was the comment calling him a douchebag and that his girlfriend was a pig. I mean, Kelly, That's where Kelly loses points. She can't get out of her own way. I do think it came from her being hurt, but that could be true for a lot of bad behavior, and it doesn't really excuse the bad behavior. So Kelly needs to own that part for sure. Like I said, Andy said, so where are you two today? And they said they don't speak. And then he asked Vickie, how close are Steve and Michael? And she said, they don't speak anymore. This whole thing has caused a problem with them. Andy asked her, is Michael still dating that woman that you set him up with? And she said, no, he's dating someone new now. And Tamara goes, how do you know? And she said, he brought her to a parade or I don't know, something they went to. So they met her in July. Then the question is brought out, should Vickie have been loyal to Michael or Kelly? And did she break girl code? And everybody, even Emily, agrees that, yeah, she broke girl code. That kind of ends with Kelly saying, I shouldn't have had to hear about it the way I did. You should have been the one to tell me. You know, Vickie's blaming Michael. Michael didn't want you to know. And then something happened. Kelly says, well, Michael has always had my back. Always. And Vickie goes, does he? And Kelly said, yeah, he does. And Vickie said, well, he told me it was 14 years of hell being married to you. Okay, Vickie. You know, you just want to hurt her? Is that what's happening? So Kelly said, well, then why would he have stayed with me? Why did he not want to divorce me then? And Vickie goes, I don't know, Cal. I'm not in your marriage. I don't know about your marriage. You know, she's going to drop a bombshell about your marriage. And then when she's questioned on it, oh, I don't know, that's your marriage. Can't have it both ways, Vickie. Andy asked Vickie, how would you have felt if Tamara went on a double date with Don after you guys split up? And she said, go for it. Nobody buys that, Vickie. Everyone there is like, no, I don't. I highly doubt you would have been just A-okay with it. And Tamara said, I never would have done that anyway. And Kelly goes, or Brooks, could you imagine if I would have dated Brooks? Although I would never do that because I like men with teeth. And then Vickie's like, oh, just stop. You're like a baboon. Blah, 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 blah. And then Kelly said, she's like a fart. Silent but deadly. This is what I'm talking about with Kelly. You know, you would have people on your side. In fact, I loved Kelly this season. I really did. But then she does stuff like this. She just goes low when she doesn't have to. And she loses support. So what happened was Vickie took the bait and Vickie went even lower. And this is the cocaine part. So here's how it went down. Kelly accused Vickie of having Steve do her dirty work on social media because, according to Kelly, people were turning against Vickie on social media. So she started to have Steve do her dirty work. And Vickie said, I don't have Steve do my dirty work. And Kelly's like, you're a liar. It's lies. Lies. Liza Minnelli. You should be called Liza Minnelli. And Vickie's like, just hold up. Can you let me talk, loudmouth? And Kelly goes, oh, don't you mean my big ass mouth? Referring to the time that she and Tamara were talking and Vickie said Kelly needs to shut her big ass mouth. So Kelly says, oh, my big ass mouth, you mean? Why don't you turn around and look in the mirror? How about that? And Vickie's reply to that was, I don't do cocaine. Sorry. And Kelly goes, neither do I. I don't do cocaine. Are you saying I do cocaine? Cut over to Gina, who's like, okay, this is harsh. You guys need to stop. And then Kelly said, I don't do drugs. If I did, I'd probably be skinny. I can't believe you're making accusations like that. And I'm a mother. I can't believe that. So now tissue gets passed down to Kelly. Vickie says, kind of under her breath, you're never with Jolie. Kelly didn't even hear her. A lot of people didn't hear her. Gina heard her because Gina gasps and she goes, oh, that's not right. Kelly and the others are like, what? What did she say? So Gina repeated it. She said that you're never with Jolie. And Kelly goes, oh. And Tamara goes, oh, so now she's a bad mom? And Vickie, well, Michael said he's with her much more than you are. And Gina goes, Michael said? Who cares what Michael said? Kelly's like, that's a lie. Wow, what a liar. And she's crying. So then Andy, just to keep the audience up to speed, he recaps what's going on right now. He says, okay, so Kelly is crying because Vickie just said she uses cocaine and she's not a good mother. Oh, God. That was a very harsh summary. And Vickie goes, I never said she wasn't a good mother. Andy, don't put words in my mouth. So everyone goes after Vickie and goes, you just said she's never there for Jolie. And Vickie backs off and goes, I just said she's not there a lot, that she travels a lot. Okay. That's not what you were insinuating. I guess Michael said Kelly went away and that he was with Jolie for 3 weeks or something. Kelly said, that's not true. I have her 1 week on and 1 week off. And I think Shannon's like, yeah, that's her schedule too. Then Vickie again. Well, I don't know. That's between you and Michael. I don't know. Gina goes, stop talking about it then. Vickie goes, I'm sorry. I haven't talked to Michael in 6 months. Vickie ends up saying to Kelly, I just don't like the way you treat me. And Kelly's like, what have I ever done to you? She's referring to her implying that she's fat. In that tweet when you said you're a pig of a girlfriend. And Kelly goes, so you accuse me of using cocaine? That's insane. Which it is. Andy asks them, so where do you two go from here? And Kelly's like, I don't know. Vickie says she's sorry, and she says that she hopes Kelly will say the same. And then she says, but you know, I'm not a pig. And Kelly does apologize for that. She said, you're not a pig. Anyway, then Andy says something like, well, I hope you two find your way back. And then a producer comes out and says, okay, ladies, fun and games are over. That's it for now for lunch or something. Maybe they're breaking for lunch, I guess. So everyone gets up and the cameras are still rolling. Most of them have left. We see the Tres Amigas are still there. Tamara says to Vickie, Vickie, you can't do that. Accuse somebody of using cocaine. Tell me if you guys caught this. Vickie's sitting on the couch still with Shannon on her right side. Shannon's looking at her phone or something. She's not paying attention, but Vickie said, well, that's what we heard. And she kind of motions, I thought anyway, she's doing this little motion to like Shannon. And Tamara said, well, I mean, nothing that you have evidence about. And Vickie said, no, I don't have evidence. Meanwhile, Kelly and one of the producers are walking to her trailer. She's like, those accusations were terrible. I think that's criminal. She's all upset. She pulls a Shannon, like, you guys go. She wants the cameras out of her face to give her some space. And then she calls Michael. She's crying, she's agitated, and she's like rapid fire trying to tell Michael what happened. Although, of course, she's putting her own spin on it because the first thing out of her mouth is, Vickie thinks I'm a bad mom. Okay, Vickie didn't say that exactly. Yeah, it was implied by the fact that you're never around, but bad mom has worse connotations. Anyway, he's trying to make heads or tails of it. He's trying to get her to calm down. She does tell him that Vickie claimed that he said being married to her was 14 years of hell, and Michael said, I never said that. Now the Tres Amigas are walking, I guess, to lunch. You hear Vickie say, oh, she's acting like a victim. It's ridiculous. Cut back to Kelly, and Michael basically says, I'm not responsible for what other people say about me. I can only tell you what the truth is, and I never said that stuff. We don't even have court-appointed visitation because we get along and we worked it out ourselves. That's crazy. And anyway, Gina comes in to give her a hug. Cut back to Vickie, who's getting her makeup touched up, and Shannon standing there. And Shannon again is saying, you can't say that stuff, Vickie. You can't say she does coke all the time. And Vickie goes, I didn't say all the time. And she called me a fart. Who does that? So your answer to her acting like a fourth grader is to accuse her of using an illegal drug. All right, guys, that is where part 1 of this reunion ends. And again, I'm just going to remind you that part 2 is going to be on Sunday night. And if there's a part 3, that is probably also going to be on Sunday, because now Vanderpump Rules is starting on Monday nights. So, oh God, you guys, if you are totally unfamiliar with it, just watch a couple to familiarize yourself, because I think you're going to get into it. I just think you will. I don't want to be like an enabler, but I do want to be an enabler. I think you will get a kick out of it. It's a little bit different because it isn't just these ladies. These are younger kids, and it's guys and girls, and Lisa Vanderpump. So if you like Lisa, it's their own kind of crazy, but there's a lot more going on in that show, I think. Okay, anyway. Okay, time for viewer mail. I forgot last week to welcome my new subscribers, so let me start off with that real quick. Okay, I've got John, Julia, Tina, Beth, Danielle, Dollface, cute, Sam, Carla's Baking Goods, Sharon, Wrestler Mom 2, Nikki, Paula, Mackenzie, Christina, Angus, and Virginia. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I hope you love it here, and welcome. And the viewer question this week comes from Lynn Lucas. Hi, Lynn. And Lynn says, Emily did not seem too sympathetic with her mother. She put her on the defensive, pointing out often in front of her family how she hadn't seen her children for a long time. I know she's been through a lot with her mom, but I felt like she was making it all about herself rather than celebrating her mom's progress that brought her to that point. What did you think? Also wondering if you think Shannon is being hypocritical by calling out Emily for pointing out the same similarities between Shannon and her mom when Shannon did the same thing to Emily by pointing out in front of others the similarities between their marriages earlier in the season. Okay, so let's break it down. The first part about Emily and her mom and Emily not seeming sympathetic, I kind of know what you mean because I felt like there were a couple of times that Emily seemed like she wanted to maybe start something with her mom. The first time was at the airport when they had gotten back in the car. Emily was like telling Annabelle, Grandma has never seen your brothers. And then her mom said, well, I saw them when they were born. I think there's so much hurt there. I think you're right. I think Emily is very hurt. And I think she's got abandonment stuff going on. Now, you can look at that two ways because her mom had an illness, right? Her mom has an illness that she's working through and she's working to get better. And yes, should she be rewarded for that? 100%. And I think that Emily does probably intellectually realize that. So yeah, and then again, when they were sitting on the couch and Emily said something about when she last saw somebody and she goes, well, yeah, I saw them. And she goes, that was a year ago. And then her mom's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I lost a year. That seemed a little harsh too. So I had all those initial reactions that you had. Didn't seem to have the sympathy for her mom that I thought she should have. But I will say this. I'm not excusing Emily's behavior, but I just think that even if she can understand as an adult woman what her mom went through, probably some of the little girl in Emily is coming out. I don't know. I'm not an expert at all. It just makes sense to me that she's got like lingering resentment, and maybe she doesn't even, maybe she's trying to get over it. I think she is. I think she genuinely is trying to build a new good relationship with her mom and with her, her children and her mom. I think she wants that. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope for the best, but don't get me wrong. I saw what you saw too. It seemed like, geez, Emily, that's not very nice. Yeah, so I get that too. As for the second part of your question, 100%. It's almost laughable that Shannon can't see that she is doing the same thing to Emily that she got accused of at the beginning. Part of the problem is that they both took it to another level. Shannon is accusing Emily of diagnosing her. Emily never diagnosed her. Emily simply pointed out similarities. But in Shannon's brain, how dare she? She's not a psychiatrist. How dare she give me a diagnosis, right? She's incensed about something that didn't even happen. At the beginning of the season, that's what Emily did. Emily was incensed that Shannon thought she was in an abusive relationship with Shane. Except Shannon didn't say she was in an abusive relationship. She said her relationship reminds me of me and David. come to think of it, I think it was that little pot stirrer, Tamra. Oh, you guys, I'm going to have to go back and check. I think it was Tamra who said, are you saying she's in an abusive relationship? And Shannon said, no, I'm not saying anything. Oh, you guys, we got to go back and watch that episode. This is like coming to my addled brain right now. I think that's what happened. I think Tamra might have put the word abusive out there. It wasn't Gina either, by the way, because when we saw that little clip, Gina retold it exactly the way it was. She didn't add the word abusive. But now, being sensitive about it, Emily heard abusive in her head. That's what Shannon's doing right now. Shannon is hearing a diagnosis in her head. And maybe this is true of everybody. Maybe it's hard to kind of step outside yourself and see something objectively. You know, it's easy for us. We're just the audience watching it all, you know? But anyway, thank you for that great question, Lynn. I appreciate it. All right, guys, as always, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to Jill Informed. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, please leave a comment down below. I love to hear from you. All right, I will see you next Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Thanks. Bye-bye.